Here's a quote I heard this week from Gabby Bernstein when I was in Florida for the I Can Do It event. She said, "Letting go allows for your highest good to come in." So let's talk about that as we go through the full moon, which is the perfect time for letting go. Welcome to the Mainly Moonology podcast. I'm your host, Yasmin Boland, an award-winning astrologer and the Sunday Times best-selling author of books including Moonology and creator of the Moonology Oracle cards. My intention for this podcast is to help you understand how you can create your dream life using mainly Moonology, the moon, as your guide. Hey there and welcome to this week's Mainly Moonology podcast. So this week we're going to be talking about the full moon, why letting go allows for your highest good to come in, and also about why it's never too late to decide you're just getting started. So why does letting go allow for your highest good to come in? This is a quote I actually heard from Gabrielle Bernstein last week. I turned it into an image tile on my Facebook and it got a massive response. So I think a lot of people out there either already get this idea or they would like to get this idea. I did actually see Gabby Bernstein last week in Tampa, Florida, when I was at the I Can Do It event. I actually did a talk there myself, which was absolutely amazing. Thank you to everybody who was there. You made it incredible. We had a packed house and the energy was just superb. So I saw Gabby Bernstein there and, she does speak so well. So I went off and I listened to some of her other work this week, and that's where I got that quote from. Letting go allows for your highest good to come in. So let's talk about that. What does it mean, letting go? I also had someone on Facebook this week saying, I don't know how to let go. When I try to let go and forgive, I find that I'm simply focusing on whatever it is that I'm trying to release, and it makes it even harder to let it go. So I'll get to that. Why is it important for personal growth and manifestation, and why is it relevant this week, this full moon week? So first of all, when it comes to letting go, I have a go-to letting go method that really never fails me. I totally understand what the person on Facebook was saying when I just focus on letting go of someone or something, I find that the more I think about that, the more I think about them, and so it becomes harder and harder for me to let go. So here is my go-to. If you are a long-time listener or reader of mine, then you know this like the back of your hand. If you're new here, welcome. This is it. It's 3, I can't say words because they're not words, they're Sanskrit vibrations. I learned them in India in about 2005, just before my life completely changed. And I believe that it was partly changed because I suddenly got this concept and I started using it. So let's do it. So basically it's Om Namo Narayani. It's a chant. Om Namo Narayani. Or you could call it a mantra. Om Namo Narayani. It's actually a chant and mantra used at the ashram where I've been going since 2005 in India, in southern India. I think I'm going to go there in early July, and I'm opening up 3 spaces for people who want to come with me. Just for 3 days, I'll support you there. If you want to do that, just let me know. Just email me yasmin@yasminboland.com and put India Retreat in the heading, and I'll make sure that I get back to you with details. I haven't quite finalized that I'm doing this yet, but I'm definitely thinking very, very seriously about it. Anyway, so this chant means I surrender to the divine, or more specifically, it means I surrender to the Divine Mother. And the reason why we do this particular chant at the ashram is because it's very much about the goddess at this ashram. The deity is Narayani, the goddess Narayani, who's a triple goddess like so many goddesses, and is made up of Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance and love, Saraswati, the goddess of divine feminine wisdom, and Durga, the goddess who helps us to destroy ignorance. So this chant is used all over India, not just at my particular ashram, but often they do Om Namo Narayana, which is I surrender to the Divine Father. I do Om Namo Narayani, which means I surrender to the Divine Mother. And the reason why this helps with letting go is because basically what you're doing is you're saying, I give this problem to the divine. I give this problem to the Divine Mother. I hand this problem over to the Divine Mother. This is your problem to deal with now, Divine. Thank you for helping me. I trust you to lead me in the right direction. So that kind of vibes with Gabby's quote about letting go allows for my highest good to come in. So I'm going to do the chant 3 times. I actually think I did it last week as well. So I'm obviously having a bit of a run on this chant, but you can't do this chant too often. And it's something you can do now as you listen, just let it wash over you, or you can do it on the night of the full moon, which we'll get to, or you can do it anytime. Anytime you need to let go so that you can allow for your highest good to come in. Here we go. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. Om Namo Narayani. Divine Mother, I hand this over to you. I release it and let go. And I trust that whatever is happening in my life now is happening for my highest good, for my soul's evolution. And so that I may fulfill all the life purposes and karmic contracts that I came to this planet to take care of and achieve. So how was that for you? I hope it helped you to start to release and let go. Releasing and letting go is so important on the spiritual path and so important in terms of personal growth, which in turn is so important in manifestation. I said that I feel like one of the reasons why my life did a 180 back in the day is because I really did release everything to the divine. I released all my hopes and dreams and wishes to the divine. And that is when everything started to manifest. Holding on to past experiences, regrets, resentment, beliefs, even attachments can really hinder our progress on the spiritual path. Just say, for example, you have been in a really toxic relationship and you haven't released it and you're still upset about it, then how do you think you're going to go about manifesting a new relationship? Obviously, it's going to be much, much harder. As they say, if you don't heal the cuts of the past, you're going to bleed over someone who hasn't even hurt you. Think about that. Also, be aware that letting go and releasing, like we've just done with that chant, like we can do any time of the day or night, but especially in a week like this, which is full moon, creates space for new opportunities to come into your life. It allows space for new things to develop, and it really creates a more positive energy because you're releasing a negative energy. It actually reminds me of that little trick that people do with, it's a kind of a feng shui thing. I think it initially came from a woman called Karen Kingston, who wrote a book about clearing your clutter back in the, I think, late 90s. And the idea is when you're ready for a new relationship to come into your life, you not only get rid of all the stuff from your ex, but you also make space for your new partner. So one of the best things to do, and I love this one, I pretty sure I did this myself, is you empty out a drawer. So, in theory, once you have a new partner in the early stages of the relationship, he or she is going to want to put some stuff in there, when they start to stay with you more often and become a regular overnight visitor, assuming that's the road you go down. Maybe they want to leave, I don't know, toothpaste or toothbrush or their aftershave or their perfume or whatever. So, it's a bit like doing that, except energetically when you release and let go, especially when you do an easy chant like Om Namo Narayani, which allows you to really offer that up to the divine, and that really does help you to release it. And I'll be doing that chant again when I do my full moon ceremony on Facebook and Instagram later this week. So let's just quickly talk about the date and time of this full moon this week, which, by the way, is a full moon in the sign of Sagittarius. It's going to be taking place in London on June 4 at 4:41 a.m. In Sydney, it's going to be June 4 at 1:41 p.m. In LA or Pacific time, it's going to be June 3 at 8:41 p.m. And in New York or Eastern time, that'll be June 3 at 11:41 p.m. Okay, so it's a pretty important full moon because it's got some fantastic astrology taking place around the moonology. Keywords for this full moon from my moonology diary: healing, freeing, adventurous, exciting. Now, reasons for those is because we've got a Gemini Sagittarius energy in the full moon, which is great because it's all about seeing the bigger picture and also starting to kind of being able to see your life with a bit of perspective. It's taking place near a Mercury-Uranus connection, which is all about freeing your mind. So if you need to free your mind up from the past, it's perfect for that. And there's also a pretty darn sexy Venus-Pluto alignment taking place just after the full moon, which is great for romance that goes way beyond the superficial. And also it makes this full moon a really good time to end power struggles over love and money, because Pluto is about power struggles. Venus is about love and abundance. So, and the full moon is about turning the corner. So, if you want to release any struggles over love or to do with cash, this full moon, perfect. Ditto if you need to come up with a really brilliant new way of looking at a problem to do with love and money. So the full moon really is the time to let go. And what people don't realize is that it's this letting go that actually helps us to manifest at the time of the new moon. Because, and I've said it before, but I'll say it again, if you don't let go of all your stuff, when you come to do your new moon manifesting in 2 weeks' time after the full moon, you will just be sending out all the same old SHIT, upsets, dramas, fears, etc., etc., etc. And it's impossible to manifest when you are just putting that stuff out there. Because here's the thing, even though, making your new moon wishes is brilliant because it gives you clarity, it's actually who you are, what you're embodying, that will actually lead to manifesting or not manifesting your wishes. Because basically, like unto itself is drawn. So if you are just this hotbed of drama and upset and regrets and jealousy and anger, then that's what you're putting out into the universe, and that's what's going to come back to you, okay? So that's why I always say that the secret sauce, SOURCE, of manifesting is what we do at full moon, and people don't realize that. It took me spending 5 weeks and 3 days, I think it was, in India in 2005 for me to realize this. And I really realized this on one of the last days that I had at this ashram. Suddenly I realized why it was all about surrender and release, because that is what frees you up to create the life that you want. Okay, and the full moon is the perfect time for release, completion, closure, and really all you need to do is, either you can join me for my full moon ritual I usually do it on Facebook and Instagram, Or you can do it yourself in your back garden and just chant Om Namo Narayani, which I've chanted for you here today, or whatever feels right to you. If you don't feel right chanting in Sanskrit, that's absolutely fine. You can just chant I surrender to the divine or I surrender to the divine mother. The other thing we often do, and people do this with my Moonology diary as well, which has space for it, but you can just do it on a regular piece of paper, is we write down what we're letting go. And actually in my diary, let me just mention here, which is sold out, by the way, so I'm not trying to sell you a copy of my diary. So what I've got, it's on page 140 of my Moonology Diary 2023, if you've got it. I've got some questions that will really help you at this full moon. I'll just read it to you. So seeing the bigger picture. While Gemini, which is where the sun is at the moment, while Gemini likes to think about every little thing, Sagittarius, which is where the full moon is going to be, is all about bigger ideas and the bigger picture. This full moon, make the most of this energy by completing the following exercise. And like I said, it's actually on page 140 of the Moonology Diary 2023. If you're wrestling with more than one issue, you might like to do the exercise on a separate piece of paper for each one. Just complete the following. And so I've got 3 sentences that you need to complete. So first is, and maybe you want to write this down, pause and grab a pen and paper and write it down. So I am worried that ... and fill that in, write what you're worried about. Next is, however, the bigger picture is that ... fill that in. Okay. And then the third sentence is, therefore, I am grateful that ... Okay. I am worried that ... However, the big picture is that ... Therefore, I'm grateful that ... So do that exercise. You know, you can do it now or you can do it on full moon night. I might try and remember to do that at the full moon ceremony that I do. I can actually give you a link if you want to register for that ceremony. It's free, obviously. moonmessages.com/FB events for Facebook events. moonmessages.com/FB events. And so there's also questions to ask yourself at this full moon in the diary, which I won't go into right now. But I will say, if you guys are interested in getting the Moonology diary for next year, it's already on sale on Amazon and in all good bookshops. So I want to talk a bit about why it's never too late to start over, and why even if you think, you know, this is just too much, whatever you're going through, whether it's anything from mild disappointment to searing upset, you know, and you might just think, oh, I'm never going to get over this. I'm never going to recover from this. I'm just giving up. It's too late for me to start over. I just want to say it's honestly never too late to start over. Now, I don't have a list of all these famous people who started doing things quite late in life. But, you know, I know we've all seen them, you know, things like Sharon Stone didn't go into acting until she was 40 or something. And, you know, I mean, I can't remember any. I think maybe Louise Hay, who founded Hay House, my publishers, the late, amazing Lulu. I don't think she really got started in publishing until her 50s. I might be wrong there. But, you know, it's never, ever too late. And in fact, for those of you who are into a bit of marketing, there's that guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, I think his name is. I'm never quite sure how to say his name. He calls himself Gary V. And I was reading him saying the other day, you know, even if you're in your 40s, 50s or 60s, you're going to live maybe another 30 or 40 years. It's not too late. So it's really worth thinking about, you know, the importance of just embracing any changes that are going on in your life and using them as a springboard to start afresh at any point in your life. You know, this full moon can be it. Sagittarius has such an optimistic energy. It's a really, really good time to try and, you know, dig a little deeper and think, okay, well, maybe now is the time for me to turn the corner. You know, and if you're feeling fears and doubts as you listen to this and think, oh, I don't think I can do it, I'm not, you know, pretty enough or skinny enough or young enough or whatever your story is, you know, don't tell yourself that, because we all tell ourselves that, and we think, oh, it's all right for her. She's so, pretty or young or, perfect or whatever. We all go through SHIT and we all have the chance to start over. There is a right situation. If you feel you're in the wrong situation now, there is a right situation for you, and really you need a positive mindset. It's like they say, either you can view a disaster as, okay, well, this is the end of my life, or you can view your situation as, well, this is the start of the next chapter. This is the start of the rest of my life. So all very important things to think about this week. I also just want to mention that quite soon, not this week, but quite soon, we are going to see Pluto changing signs again and flipping back into Capricorn. So, the energies are still really high. We're not in the eclipse season anymore, but the energies are still really high and changing and moving. So the more work you can do on yourself right now, the better. Also, just to mention that June 3, if you're down under, or June 2, if you're not in the Southern Hemisphere, really good nights this week for meditation. So make sure you do a little bit of that. Meditation is so good, especially if you're going through a tough time, because meditation basically helps release all the fears and doubts as you start to connect with your higher self and you start to see that you are actually far more powerful than you ever thought. So just to recap what we've talked about today, so you can hopefully go into the week feeling empowered. Letting go allows for your highest good to come in, and letting go is never easier than at the time of the full moon. Chanting Om Namo Narayani is one of the easiest ways to really surrender all your issues to the divine, which makes it easier to let go of them, because it's like saying, well, I can't seem to control this, so maybe divine, you can take care of this for me. And it's never too late to start over. If you can just get that message, you will be so much more empowered as we go into the week. And just a reminder, the chant is Om Namo Narayani, and I'll be doing a ceremony on Facebook and Instagram, which you can sign up for. The link is in the comments. So thank you for tuning into the Mainly Moonology podcast. As I said to you the other day, I think in the previous episode, we have some amazing guests coming up. We're just finalizing what we need to in order to bring those to you. Some people that are going to blow your mind. Yeah, just have a beautiful, beautiful week. I hope this has helped you. I hope this has served you. And I look forward to speaking to you in the very near future. Lots of love. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Mainly Moonology podcast. If you'd like to stay updated with the moon and moonology and astrology and all the other things we cover, be sure to subscribe to the podcast via Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You'll be notified whenever a new episode is up. Also, it would mean a lot to me and my team if you could leave us a glowing 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice, please. That actually helps more people find us too, which spreads the love and surely also brings you amazing karma for taking a moment to help us out and to help other people find the podcast. Have a great week, and I hope to speak to you next week. Lots of love.